The palace shone with gold, its opulence unmatched. Yet Siddhartha felt unease growing within his sheltered heart. Servants brought endless delicacies. Music filled the halls, and soft laughter echoed. Yet his spirit yearned for something more. Why does my soul ache despite this abundance? Siddhartha asked his teacher, a wise man steeped in ancient truths. Luxury blinds the mind and binds the heart. Siddhartha, the teacher said, his words carrying the weight of experience. How can I understand this blindness when it feels as though I see clearly? Siddhartha asked. His curiosity ignited. The teacher pointed toward a lotus blooming in the garden, its beauty unmarked by human touch or artificial luxury. I was surrounded by abundance, yet a void lingered within my soul. He paused, allowing the weight of his words to settle. Luxury is a gilded cage, hiding the reality of impermanence and suffering, he explained calmly. The disciple listened attentively, nodding as the Buddha continued. His feet carried him to a corner he rarely visited, where the servants gathered and shared their lives humbly. He saw a frail woman cradling her child, her face etched with worry, her garments simple and worn. Her trembling hands reached for water, and Siddhartha knelt beside her, offering a vessel of clean refreshment. Thank you, my prince, she whispered, her gratitude profound despite the simplicity of the gift he had offered. Her words echoed in his mind, the sincerity of her thanks contrasting starkly with his own unquiet heart. The prince observed her, realizing that her suffering existed beyond the palace walls yet resonated deeply within them. Her child cried softly, and she comforted him with a lullaby, her voice carrying notes of enduring love and hope. Siddhartha's eyes widened as he felt her resilience, untouched by wealth but rich in a strength unfamiliar to him. Returning to his chambers, Siddhartha gazed out at the moonlit courtyard, his thoughts swirling with questions and insights. Is wealth not a shield but a veil that clouds understanding? He wondered, grasping a fragment of his teacher's wisdom. Hours passed as Siddhartha sat in contemplation, the moon shifting across the night sky, casting silver shadows. He felt the weight of his surroundings, each ornate object symbolizing the luxury that separated him from life's essence. Ananda, encouraged, questioned further, Master, can attachment to wealth harm relationships, distorting love through greed and superficial pursuits? Yes, Buddha affirmed, attachment enslaves hearts, veiling love's purity beneath desires born of illusion and craving for fleeting gains. True love blooms without conditions. It endures effortlessly, untainted by material chains anchoring minds in the depths of ignorance. His body was weakened, his breath labored, and his suffering was evident, he described. Again, I asked Chandaka, what has befallen this man? Yearning for understanding, Siddhartha revealed. Each step through the gilded halls now felt heavier, weighed down by questions he carried, seeking answers beyond luxury. The morning sun painted the garden in gold, but Siddhartha's thoughts lingered on the lotus, untouched by human greed. What gives life meaning if luxury cannot? Siddhartha asked, setting his mind upon the journey that would change the world. Another day. The palace doors opened as Siddhartha stepped away, leaving its grandeur behind for the first time. Another day. His bare feet touched the earth, and the wind carried the voices of those living beyond the palace walls. Another day. Siddhartha saw villagers bending over fields, their faces marked by toil, their hands coarse and weathered. Another day. He approached a farmer who paused, his scythe resting against his shoulder, sweat glistening beneath the midday sun. Another day. Siddhartha asked, how do you endure such labor every day, yet still find moments to smile? The farmer replied, my prince, life is fleeting, and each breath, though heavy, is a gift worthy of gratitude. Another day. Siddhartha sat beneath a tree, watching children play barefoot, their laughter unbound by the weight of poverty. Another day, he wondered how joy could exist where abundance was absent, where hardship seemed to prevail like shadows. The villagers welcomed them warmly, offering fruits and water, gratitude shining brightly in their eyes and gestures of kindness. As evening fell, the disciples gathered around Buddha, their hearts seeking guidance illuminated by flickering lanterns and distant stars above. That day, I returned to the palace burdened by these realizations, he revealed. I realized that wealth and luxury could not shield me from the realities of aging, illness, and death, he elaborated. Another day, under the shade of a tree, Siddhartha shared a meal with wandering monks, their conversations steeped in wisdom. Another day, they spoke of impermanence, the fleeting nature of existence, and the suffering born from clinging to material desires. Another day, Siddhartha asked, how can one find peace when surrounded by relentless suffering and impermanence? Another day, the monks said, peace lies within. Attachment breeds suffering, but understanding impermanence frees the mind from unnecessary weight. Another day, Siddhartha contemplated their words as the wind rustled leaves, scattering them like moments that never stood still. Another day, he found himself drawn to a river, its ceaseless flow embodying the truth of change and life's transient essence. The journey was both painful and liberating. As I embraced the path of a seeker, Siddhartha revealed, I traded my princely garments for the robes of an ascetic. Beginning my search for truth, he explained. Another day, he resolved to sit beneath the Bodhi tree, seeking the answers only silence and stillness could provide. Another day, weeks passed, his meditation unwavering, his mind peeling away illusions obscuring the profound truths hidden beneath layers of desire. Another day, a disciple approached, troubled by loss, seeking guidance from Siddhartha, now awakened by wisdom and clarity. Another day, Siddhartha said, let go of what has passed, for clinging to shadows blinds us to light awaiting discovery. Another day, Siddhartha shared the knowledge gained through silence. Attachment binds the soul, yet freedom exists within understanding impermanence. Another day, his teachings spread, reaching hearts across boundaries, guiding souls toward liberation from their own gilded cages. Another day, Siddhartha smiled at the journey, knowing peace was found not in wealth but in simplicity and wisdom. Another day, the world seemed brighter, no longer bound by illusions, yet glowing with truths Siddhartha carried to all who listened. Another day, he walked among the people, his steps light, his presence offering comfort and understanding to weary minds. Another day, Siddhartha realized each encounter, each conversation, deepened his teachings, enriching lives in ways no palace ever could. True richness arises in giving, allowing simplicity to amplify purpose, igniting sparks of kindness that illuminate life's profound tapestry. The farmer lowered his head, humbled by Buddha's teachings, his soul stirring with gratitude for clarity now within reach. Let these teachings be a lamp, guiding you through the darkness of ignorance, Siddhartha advised. Reflect on impermanence and practice mindfulness, for this is the way to inner peace, he concluded. Another day, a disciple approached him, her face etched with worry, holding tightly to a pouch of gold coins. Another day, she said, Master, I fear losing my wealth, yet it weighs on me as much as it comforts me. Another day, Buddha smiled gently and replied, Your wealth is like water in a bowl, trembling with every step you take. Another day, he continued, Set down the bowl, and though the water remains, its trembling will cease, offering your mind peace. Another day, the disciple stared at her pouch, realizing its weight was not just physical but deeply rooted in her mind. Another day, Buddha said, True wealth lies not in possessions but in freedom from the attachments that bind the soul. Their teachings focused on severe austerities, advocating the abandonment of all worldly pleasures and comforts. He elaborated, "I believed that self-denial was the path to liberation. So I immersed myself in their practices," the teacher admitted. Another day, the merchant said, "I trade across lands, gaining riches. Yet I wonder why my spirit feels heavier with every journey." Another day, Buddha said, "Each step you take carries not just your goods but the burdens of your desires and attachments." Another day, Buddha pointed toward the sky, where a bird soared freely, unbound by nets or possessions weighing it down. Another day, he continued, "To free yourself, you must soar like the bird, letting go of the nets woven by your cravings." Another day, the merchant thanked Buddha. His mind awakened to the possibility of living beyond the grip of material ambitions. Another day, children gathered around Buddha, their laughter bright, unrestrained by worries that often clouded adult minds. Another day, Buddha said to his disciples, "Observe the children, how their joy flows freely, untouched by the need to possess." Another day, he continued, "When we return to a state of simplicity, we find the peace that luxury often hides from us." He continued, "A life of meaning is not defined by reaching the horizon but by walking the path with purpose." The young man listened closely, his tension easing as the Buddha's words settled like gentle rain upon his troubled soul. Another day, a disciple asked, "Master, how can I free myself when my desires are vast and my attachments deeply rooted?" Another day, Buddha said, "Desires grow like weeds in a garden. You must tend to your mind as carefully as the gardener tends soil." Another day, he continued, "Pull each weed gently, one by one, and cultivate thoughts that nourish rather than entangle your spirit." I abandoned the extreme practices of asceticism, instead seeking harmony within my existence, Siddhartha explained with clarity. This decision marked the beginning of a new understanding, the foundation for the Noble Eightfold Path, he elaborated. Another day, he said to a nearby fisherman, "The river flows not because it clings but because it lets go of every moment passing." Another day, the fisherman nodded, sensing the depth of Buddha's teachings in the continuous rhythm of the river's timeless journey. Another day, a widow approached Buddha, tears falling, her grief heavy, seeking solace in the presence of his calm wisdom. Another day, she said, "Master, I have lost everything dear to me. How can I endure the pain that consumes me?" Another day, Buddha replied, "Grief is like a storm. It may rage but will pass." A disciple named Kavi stepped forward, asking, "Master, how can one resist the distractions of ambition and remain focused on purpose?" Buddha replied, "Mindfulness grounds us. It is the anchor that keeps the ship steady amidst the stormy waves of desire." Through mindfulness, we learn gratitude. We see that each step we take, however small, contributes to a meaningful journey. I understood that suffering arises from attachment and ignorance, and liberation is achieved through understanding and wisdom, he explained. The young disciple bowed deeply, his gratitude evident in his gesture. Another day, Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree again, his presence reminding all of the freedom found in clarity and understanding. Another day, he said to his disciples, "Freedom is not the absence of suffering but the acceptance of life's impermanence without fear." Let your own journey be guided by mindfulness and wisdom, he advised, as you walk the path. Remember that excess leads to suffering, but simplicity guided by compassion leads to freedom, Siddhartha concluded. Another day, the wind carried his wisdom across lands, touching hearts and minds, planting seeds of liberation from attachments everywhere. Another day, the world seemed brighter, not from wealth or splendor, but from the profound peace arising through Buddha's timeless teachings. Another day, his journey continued, his steps light, his spirit boundless, his wisdom illuminating paths for all who sought freedom. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.